Hello and welcome to today's parent chat. We are going to share a strategy to get your kids to listen the first time. My name is Rihanna Ridman. I'm an infant and early childhood mental health consultant at Children's Resource Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. So the strategy that we can use to get our kids to listen the first time is called assertive communication. And assertive communication is an evidence-based strategy that will increase your child's initiative and self-regulation and decrease behavior concerns. Initiative and self-regulation are both protective factors for resiliency, and we really want to build up our children's resiliency when they're young. Resiliency is their ability to adapt to any kind of challenge, stress, change that they may face throughout their life. We want them to be able to bounce back from adversity. So again, using assertive communication will increase their initiative, which is their ability to use independent thought and action to meet their needs. So initiative in your children looks like them asking a friend to play or telling you what they want and then going and getting it for themselves. Self-regulation is your child's ability to express their emotions and then manage their behavior in healthy ways. So when your child is able to recognize that maybe they're feeling mad or sad, and then they can choose a positive calm down strategy to help them relax or settle down. So in this picture here, this little girl looks like she's got some great self-regulation skills. She is in her safe place. Maybe she was feeling mad or sad and she chose to take a deep breath to help relax. So again, using assertive communication will help to build that self-regulation and initiative, which are both protective factors for resiliency. And also using assertive communication will decrease behavior concerns. Behavior concerns can be from both externalized behavior and internalized behavior. The externalized behaviors are those outward expressions of emotion. So when your child is hitting or biting, kicking, pushing, any kind of behavior that is expressed outward. And then internalized behavior are those actions that are directed towards the self. So maybe when your child is hiding under a table, refusing to speak, maybe just not participating or appearing sad. So one thing to keep in mind is that behaviors become challenging when they interfere with the child's development and learning, or it's harmful to themselves or others. So some behaviors that we might see as challenging are actually developmentally appropriate, depending on their age and their stage of development. So when we think of a child who is having a tantrum, so in this picture, this little boy, maybe it looks like his car that he was playing with broke. So he's upset and he's, screaming, crying, throwing a fit on the ground, having a tantrum. This behavior would be developmentally appropriate for him if he is, a toddler, maybe 2 years old, and according to his stage of development, because he might not yet have the words to use to tell you what happened or what he's feeling. He doesn't have that language development yet to be able to express those feelings and let you know what he needs. So again, if this behavior was coming from maybe a 4, 5, or 6-year-old child, that would be considered challenging because it's interfering with their learning, or it can be harmful to themselves or others. So assertive communication is essentially telling our children what to do versus what not to do. So offering children clear, usable information. So instead of saying, don't run or stop running, we're going to give them clear, usable information of what to do. So we want them to please walk or use your walking feet. One way to really reinforce these actions or assertive communication would be through modeling or using a visual. So we can model for children what we want those behaviors to be. So if we want them to please walk, we can also walk and show them, this is what it looks like to use walking feet. And using a picture or a visual. So if you have family rules at home and your family rule is to have a quiet voice or to use gentle touches instead of hitting or pushing. So if you have a visual of that, then you can show them what that behavior is supposed to look like and what those expectations are. So just to remember, we want to avoid words like stop, don't, no, and quit. I know this is difficult and it's a little easier said than done, but if we can use words to tell them what to do versus what not to do, it will really be impactful for them, because the way that their brains are developing and the way that they're learning, they really don't even hear the first word that we say. They only hear the last thing that we said. So if what we said was stop running, they only hear running. And so the way that their brains are working, they get a visual of a picture of running. So if they see that visual of running, they're going to keep running. But if we can change that and use assertive communication and we say, please walk, they hear that last word of walk, and then their brain will make that visual of a person walking. And so then they know what that expectation is and they will walk. Something to remember, to say and model what you want them to do instead of ask them. If we ask children to, put their toys away, please put your, or please will you put your toys away, or will you put the blocks in the basket, or please will you, put your shoes where they belong. If we ask them, then they have the opportunity to say no. And that can really cause one of those power struggles. It's really frustrating when they tell us no. We want them to listen the first time. We want them to follow directions the first time. So one way to do that is to tell them instead of ask them. And the last thing to remember is really praise and encourage the behavior you want to see more of. So children really respond well to praise. It really reinforces the behaviors that you want to see. So anytime that they follow your directions and you say, please walk, and then they walk, you can say, wow, that's so awesome. I love the way you're using your walking feet. Thank you for walking inside the house. We can practice some other challenging behaviors that you might be seeing at home. We did talk about please walk instead of run. Another one that we could use would be instead of yelling, or, stop yelling, quit yelling, no yelling, we want to say, please use a quiet voice, or please use an inside voice. Instead of stop climbing, maybe we want to use what we want them to do. So we want them to keep their feet on the floor or put their bottom in a chair. So tell them, keep your feet on the floor, and then really praise for that. Wow, I see the way that you're keeping your feet on the floor. Thank you. That's awesome. Don't touch, or maybe don't push, stop pushing, stop hitting. Instead, what we want them to do is keep their hands to themselves. So put your hands at your sides. Show me that you can keep your hands in your pockets, or show me your hands, keep your hands to yourself. And then really praising, wow, I see that you have kept your hands at your side. I know that you're keeping yourself and your friends safe. Thank you. And really praising for that. Another example is stop whining. So trying to avoid the words of stop, quit, no, don't. So instead of stop whining, what do we want them to do? We want them to use a big boy voice or a big girl voice. Please use a calm voice so I can understand you. And then really praising when they do use that calm big boy or big girl voice. Another one would be don't throw your toys. So if, again, we're thinking of what we want them to do versus what not to do, keep your toys in your hands, or play with your toys on the floor, keep your toys on the carpet, and then really praising when they follow that direction. And then we'll do one more example. Let's do no biting. So this one can be difficult. No biting. Maybe if they are biting as a way to get attention or get connection from another person, instead of biting, we can say, give them a high five or give them a hug. Biting is for your food. So again, telling them what to do, bite your food. And then we want to use gentle touches with our friends or with our brother or with our sister. So again, telling them what to do versus what not to do, and then really praising. Thank you for using a nice touch, or a gentle touch. Good job using a hug to show that you know, wanted attention or something, connection. So yeah, I will also show you the resource page. The resources for the calm down strategies are from Conscious Discipline. They have a lot of different breathing techniques that you can use to help build that self-regulation, which again is a protective factor for resilience. And then the managing big emotions. These are printable emotion cards. So if you are looking for a visual to show children, you know, maybe how to recognize those feelings and tell you how they're feeling, printing off visuals of what does it look like when you're happy or sad or mad. So that way they can learn those feelings and recognize those emotions and then tell you when they are feeling that way. Thank you for joining us today on this parent chat, and we'll see you next time.